Hello, world. Welcome to episode 2 of the newly christened 10x podcast, hosted by minus 10x engineers, of course. Today, we're going to talk about interviews, and I think let's start with our own interview stories. Rohan, how do you get into your first job?
Yeah. That's the only interview I've ever given, by the way. So I've got a striking
First
success rate
time
for
the charm,
interviews. Yeah. First, it was beginner's luck, I guess.
right?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. It was a campus hiring, and there were, I think it's standard. We all know how the interview goes. But yeah, it was a bit of a surprise when I did actually get in because I thought the the last two rounds were kind of iffy, but it looks like I managed to pull through. I'm really curious about what the interview thread is like, though.
Right. This is something that even I was curious about, but like we work at the same place and it's hidden actually from you for us. You can't really
It
access
is.
your own
No,
interview thread.
not unless your interviewer shows you, and
And you're
I'm not sure
also
why they would.
yeah, and you're also the first guy who described your interview experience as awesome. I don't think
I
anyone's
mean, I got it, didn't I? Like,
yeah, well, in hindsight
Have
it's
you?
awesome.
yeah,
The result was awesome.
yeah, yeah. Also, it's awesome
Yeah.
because I don't think I could crack it again. So
Right.
I always factor that. Like, if right now I had to give an interview for my current position, I may not be able to crack it.
Yeah, but I think that that's the case with me too. I don't think because you're preparing
Come
very
on, man.
specifically for those things at that point in time. So I think even
Yeah,
I
sure.
would probably I wouldn't get through. What about you, Darshan?
That's just
About-
imposter syndrome, you guys. I'm pretty sure if we prepared, we would give the interview again,
Yeah,
pass it
if we
again.
prepared though, no.
Yeah, if we
Yeah, if
prepared,
we
sure,
prepared.
sure, sure,
Yep.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that
I meant
brings us
right
to the
now.
disconnect between interviews and the job that you do, right? Because you need to prepare for
Yeah,
an interview. Imagine how crazy that is. You need to prepare for an interview, even though you've been doing this job for like how many years? More than 2 years? Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. For sure. But
Yeah.
it's also, I think, because interviews really test for very specific things, right? I don't know. It's like you've been speaking English or Hindi or Marathi all your life, and then you still have to give exams, and you still need to prepare specifically for exams. It's like how
yeah,
can you? But I think that's how it is, and you kind of test for very specific skills that you may not always use in your job, and plus it's completely impossible to have tailor-made specific questions to your role,
yeah.
and yeah, I guess that's just how it is.
Somehow they test for
Uh,
very specific and very general things at the same time because it's very specific in terms of the logic and the questions that are asked and very general in terms of it is too fundamental to have any bearing on what you actually do at work.
Yeah, of course. Like, when was the last time either of you ever had to code a linked list, or you ever had to worry
Yeah,
about sorting or something? When
yeah,
have we not we just used the library functions? But
I
of
mean,
course, that is not.
that's what we do, right? We instead of building these algorithms, all we do in our work is stitch already implemented algorithms. Our job is not to build
Yeah,
algorithms. It feels like it's just stitching algorithms made by others to form a pipeline of that builds up an application.
right.
So
yeah.
that's
But you
how.
guys also take interviews, right? So what is you guys? I'm pretty sure also ask these kind of questions. So what is the purpose for you guys in asking such questions?
For
Oh,
me, I feel
yeah, go
like
ahead.
the first thing I need to confirm is that the candidate should have some problem solving skills. So, first, I see if they can logically, uh, oh, communication is also key. So, if they can communicate the solution that they've thought up of, I'm like, I mean, half of the battle is won over there. Next comes the coding part because many people can actually give out solutions orally, but they find it very difficult to write it in code because computers uh, n- I don't want to surprise you, but computers don't have no common sense. They need to be force fed instructions in a very specific manner, so your oral explanation may not map to your code one to one. So these are the two things that I look into: communication, actually three, sorry, communication, your logical thinking or problem solving skill, and the third thing is your ability to code the solution requirements into actual code.
Right.
I don't bother with the syntax though. I just
Yeah, that's
Makes
fair.
sense.
Benoit?
Do you, but just a follow up question, do you bother with the resume? How important is the resume for you when you're scanning through the candidates?
I just look at
Application?
the projects. that the
Right.
candidate has gone made. Yeah.
Same. Even I just look at the I look at the work experience. So similar thing. Like I look at the languages they've actually worked in, and then I have an
Yeah.
occasional chuckle at people who mention listening music as their hobbies.
And Excel as a skill,
Sure.
operate in
Excel is a
Excel as a
skill,
skill.
by the
Excel
way.
as a
If you
skill.
really,
Actually,
Yeah,
if you
Excel is a
really know
skill.
how to
Yeah,
use
sorry.
it, yeah, that's definitely
yeah.
a skill.
But for programming developers,
I mean, if you're good at macro,
Maybe.
okay, I guess it could be a skill if you're a, yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Because yeah, Excel is pretty powerful actually. It's almost like a programming language in itself actually. Because a lot of I mean, in finance and things like that, a lot finance and even risk analysis and all, a lot of people actually model a lot of scenarios just in Excel. Like there's no need for any to write any code and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time I saw the pivot function in Excel, it fucking blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
I still
Yeah.
don't know what it does, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. What about you, bro? What do you actually look for when you ask such questions that don't really, may not really translate to the day-to-day job?
Yeah, like Darshal, of course, I try to test logic. Someone should have at least basic problem solving ability. Again, I concur with Darshal. Communication is important because you have to collaborate. At the end of the day, you're not going to be a one man team. You have to
Yep.
collaborate with your teammates. You have to
Unlike
make
10x
documentation.
engineers.
Yeah, unlike 10x engineers. Yeah, exactly. No one wants to
Yep.
hire a 10x engineer. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
You
yeah,
guys do know the original tweet for 10x engineers said that you should really cherish them and allow them to work. And
yeah. I mean,
you may want to look out,
you can jerk off to
like
them
hire
by any
10x
means. That's
engineers.
it. You should hire them. Put up pictures on
Yeah, you
on
should.
your wall, but that's it.
Yeah. Can you imagine reporting to one? It's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
would be a nightmare. And even managing one would be a nightmare. But anyway,
Sorry
uh,
for derailing. Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah. So also, and since you brought that up, the guy shouldn't be too arrogant. You kind of test temperament as well. When you
Hmm.
keep cross
Uh,
questioning, the interviewee shouldn't show visible signs of being annoyed. Should be willing to explain a solution to the satisfaction of the interviewer. And one thing I do test, like I do place pretty much a lot of importance in is complexity analysis because even though the code that you write in your whatever competitive programming doesn't translate to your work, complexity analysis does. If you're writing a loop or a nested loop, you need to know that this is going to increase your complexity by how much. A loop inside a loop is going to increase the time that the algorithm is going to take to execute, and just things like that. What basically how long the algorithm is going to take to run is something
Based
that
on
I
your
should be
inputs.
able to analyze effectively, according to me.
Tell me if this has ever happened to you. I'd once asked what is the complexity of this code to a particular solution a candidate provided, and they pointed at the loop and said that this is the complex part.
Oh, this
And I
is
was
still
like,
better.
that's not really what I meant.
This is still better than my experience, dude. I asked a guy, okay, so what do you think is the time complexity of your algorithm? And he thinks for 10 seconds. He's like, yes, this is very complexity. I know.
Did we interview the same candidate, Darshal? What happened?
This is very complex.
No, man. I mean, the worst part is you have to keep a straight face. You can't laugh at their face because
You can't.
it's a professional setting.
But
And
That in the interview, I don't know. I don't even want to laugh. You really, I mean, you do are
yeah,
looking out for someone to hire. So the laughter always comes after in like hindsight. At that point, you're like, no, that's not what I meant.
at that point, you want to say this interview is over, but you have to drag it on for the minimum number of minutes required.
Sure, sure, sure,
I
sure.
mean, just to make
That's
sure
true.
that you're not, this was a one off thing or he's actually this bad.
So did you ask then the follow up question to make sure he didn't just it wasn't just a brain fart?
So the thing is that,
No, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I mean,
Mm.
I did ask technical. This was a person who was kind of experienced, and you tend to sort of give them a little, relatively a
Oh,
little leeway in logic. At least I do, because
what a
you're kind of not
coincidence.
used to going through that.
Right.
So, but then even as technical wasn't that that. But of course, I did complete the interview. As much as I want to, I don't. I can't just base like a. I can't just do a snap judgment and decide on the basis of a single question or a single response.
Right.
Sometimes it just might be nerves, right? You don't really know.
Right. Darshal, you look like you're in a den now. You completely,
Then,
your
oh,
eyes are sockets
let me
and there's a red glow like you're in a dungeon.
let there be light. Whoa.
Yes. Now your
I think slowly it's just gonna
interrogator has
fade to
walked in.
black, and it's gonna slowly just fade to black, and there'll be a Guy Fawkes mask
Yeah.
appearing.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't
Want to
even
make fun of
notice.
10x engineers, huh?
Hacker culture. Not
Yeah.
really.
Right.
So, what about you guys? Any other interview experiences that you had? Like you applied for interviews and
Oh, so this was when I was in college, and okay, so I had two internships during my college, and one of the internships was pretty useless. I was just made to shadow my senior or mentor, and
Mhm.
he just taught me things about what a IT company does, a consultancy based IT company does. It was they were handling telecom projects, and he told me the entire how the project flow goes on, the waterfall model and the whole 9 yards. There I didn't learn much programming, but the second internship was pretty fun because there was only one proper developer, and rest all of us were interns. So the one developer used to monitor us all. So how my interview went was pretty cool actually, because they didn't ask me these algorithm based questions. The guy just told me, okay, you have to implement a Twitter clone, bring your laptop to the office, because it was a startup. So and you'll be there. He called me in the afternoon, and I was there till evening, and he told me to build a Twitter clone. And to be honest, I just built the login page in that time, and I
Okay.
didn't even begin to design the actual tweeting UI or anything. And this guy was coming in between,
nice.
and he was just asking me like, "How's it going? What are you trying to do over here?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm just using some CSS to adjust the text fields, and this I'm making a backend for storing logins and all." And he was like, "Okay, okay." And I thought, man, come on! I didn't. This was just one feature that I implemented, so I probably won't be selected. And he's like, "Oh, what you made is working, right?" I said, "Yeah, this is how it works." I showed him how the login works, and he's like, "Okay, cool. You can start working from tomorrow, or if you want to hang out, hang around and watch what other people are doing, that's also cool." I'm like, nice. So basically, he was just saying if I have the brain fart, thought process to build up a application or not. That's all I was looking
Right,
for.
right.
And
Yeah, or
what
maybe
did
he
the
was so
company
impressed
do?
by the login page, like, oh my god, this is like a Twitter clone, a Facebook clone, a Gmail clone.
It could be anything.
It
Yeah,
become
the
anything.
startup was
Endless
just another
potential.
consultancy company only, an up and coming consultancy.
Okay. And the second one?
Right.
Oh, the first one was I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. We'll beep this if we are not allowed to say. It was Tech
Who tells
Mahindra.
us this? Who tells us this? Who tells us if we're allowed to say it or not?
I mean,
Man,
people have to watch or listen to this in order to tell us not to say about it. So the first
yeah,
company
yeah.
was Tech Mahindra, where I learned about the software development process rather than
Hmm.
actually doing software development. And the second company was actually a college mate of mine's, his cousin's startup company. So he was my
Oh,
referral,
okay, okay.
and he got me in contact with the guy. And he also worked with me. It was actually pretty fun because most of the interns were from my college itself, and I got to know other people from my college, people my
Hmm.
age only. And I had a great time because I found people who I shared hobbies with. Yeah.
Did you get
Uh,
paid though for either?
No. That's the case now with internships.
yeah.
Oh, damn,
Yeah.
dude.
You got paid in
Did you guys
experiences and friends, I guess.
Did you guys get paid ever, like for internships?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
a,
I did, I did.
oh.
Oh, nice.
Where did you intern on?
Yeah. I entered this place called Nibal. That was also a service company, I guess. So
Right.
we
Oh,
used to make Android apps. I worked on a thing called JSF at one point, Java Server Faces.
Okay.
So yeah, interned there twice. I'd interned with a couple of my college friends as well. So
Nice.
yeah, it was pretty fun. Got paid, and I actually got to learn a lot. Yeah, actually, I had to code there, not just observe.
Yeah,
Right.
that is the best
Pretty
part
fun.
about a startup. You get a lot of responsibilities and
Yeah,
learn in that process.
I think I'm the
right,
only
right.
one who's never done an internship.
Huh,
And yet
seriously?
here
I
we
just
are.
in the
Yeah.
area. So yeah, I don't have any internship experiences, but I do have a funny job experience. Again, got recruited straight out of college. That's the only job I've had yet. So of course, one fine day in college, they call us in for the aptitude test, which is like two programming problems. I think I solved one of them. The other one, I think, had a problem. The second question had a problem, and so nobody got it. Basically, there was zero successful submissions for the second problem. So all of us who solved one were called for an interview the next day. So going for the interview the next day, there's like a first round which was pretty simple. The basic data structures, a few easy algorithms. Got through it. Then I think I had to wait maybe an hour and a half or so, get into my second round. That was pretty tough. It was a tough interview, and I kind of only partially solved most of the answers. So I was kind of expecting to be axed, and that's what happened. So I got out of the cabin. The HR comes up and says, "Sorry, we're not going to carry on with this. You can go home."
Oh,
And so I left. I went home, and then I reach home. I get home and I get a call saying there's been some kind of mistake, and would you be willing to come
Oh,
back and interview for another round?
right.
On I think it was a Friday on which I had gone to interview, and they called me on a Monday. And so I said yes. Well, who's gonna say no?
definitely.
So right. So Monday. Again, we live in Mumbai. It's the rainy season. Monday it rains like cats and dogs. I call up the HR before leaving home. Is this on? Is the interview on? She says, yeah, it's on. No problem. Come over. All right. It's raining again, cats and dogs. I'm unsure of things, but I'm not going to miss out on the opportunity, so I leave. Right. My I transport and everything. Public transport is completely ground to halt, so I asked my dad to drop me. We're in the car. We're stuck on the highway. Uh, like nothing's moving. Get a call from the HR. Oh, sorry to inform you, the interview's been cancelled today. Please come in. I think after 2 days or something, she called me. I said
Oh,
okay. Went back home from where we were, and then I came back in for that last round on 2 days later. Again, came in, was made to wait for maybe an hour and a half. Then finally, someone comes in with a laptop, which they connect me on a call to my interviewer, and the interview goes pretty well. And then again, I'm sitting waiting for an answer because the HR who has the authority to offer to give offers is not in that day. So I'm waiting for another 2 hours. Nothing happens. So then finally, someone sees me waiting and asks what's going on. So then the lady comes and says, "Our HR is not in yet. Whatever, whatever. Can you you can go home. We'll call you and let you know what the whatever, whatever."
yeah, but
So she said something like, "It's looking positive, but we'll give you an answer when you get home," or something like that. And it turned out that I had been actually rejected on the in that second round because they had actually interviewed me for a higher position. It turned out that that second
mm,
question in the test was actually faulty, and they I think reevaluated the submissions, and I think mine had passed the reevaluation, and so they were interviewing me for another position,
a higher position.
and they kind of rejected me for that position. Turned out that had been a mistake. They called me back, and then I got the job finally. I went home, and again an hour or so later, that the lead HR gave me a call and said, "Yeah, we're offering you the job." And so that was it. That was also an awesome
That,
interview. It
that was
was.
a
Awesome.
fucking roller coaster, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like roller coaster, and I very nearly threw up on this one also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now
I
you
have
got a
the
job.
exact
Yes, you
same
got a
sentiment.
job.
It's a roller coaster with an
Maybe not.
extremely averse this emotion. Like, what do you think, Darshan?
Yeah, his whole scenario was like, yeah, no, you didn't get a job. Maybe you can get a job. Maybe not now. Okay, you got it.
Like
Yeah,
they,
just playing with the
it's
student's emotion. Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm the fish, and They're trying to get me to bite. I
Oh, it's
bite.
like
They
that.
pull. They give some.
The
Give
bait.
some slack. And they
It's
put it
basically
in.
a prank where you attach money to the end of a string,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when someone bends down to pick it up, you just pull back on it.
yeah. But I did reach the money in the end.
Yeah, yeah. Finally, finally. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I had a relatively smoother experience. I had 2 rounds on one day. The second round, I felt a bit. I didn't know how this went, but I was called for the third round on. I think it was a Friday, and it was quite late. So I was called on the like on Tuesday, I think, because Monday was a holiday or something. So Tuesday, I had gone in for my last round, and then the whole interview process happened. I thought I'd kind of fucked it up, but then after like waiting an hour, the HR was like, "Yeah, you got it." I was like, "Yeah," and that was the end of that.
Right.
Oh, luckily, so these are the interview stories of our current job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so let
considering
me tell you
I think we've
what
all had
happened.
just one
Huh.
job so far, right?
But I have had two job interviews for during
Oh, okay.
campus placement. So
Oh,
what happened was like
huh.
I gave my L&T interview and I passed. So surprisingly, L&T interviews don't ask you to do any coding. They just ask you what projects you've done or something, and that's it. They don't even test whether you actually had any hand in making the project or not. But all right, I got the interview was done, but the results weren't declared. So during my current job's coding round, so they didn't have a what do you say, aptitude test, right? So when we joined, they didn't have a aptitude test, right? They had a coding round where you solve competitive programming problems, and based on how many problems you solve, you were offered a position. So if you solved one problem, you get a web dev, and you solve two problems, you get a I think it was called a
Application
application dev at that
application
time, right?
engineer.
Yeah, application engineer. So yeah, so the day that we had a coding round, I got the result that okay, I got accepted into L&T. So uh, so these college people usually don't like that students have two job offers at hand, because it takes another candidate's opportunity or something like that. I don't know. So but thankfully the my current company was a dream company, right? Because it offered a salary higher than 5 lakhs per annum. So they had to allow me to sit in the coding interview company. Uh, so so my coding interview got over, coding round, sorry, interview nahi, coding round, and the L&T results were announced. So I passed the coding round, and I got placed into L&T also. So the next day I had to prepare for this interview, and I didn't have much time. So the most luckiest part is that one of my school friends who went to your college, Binoy, she told me about this testimonial websites where students share their experiences about their interviews. So on this website, I found a lot of people who already gave interviews for the current company which we are working in right
Probably
now.
was one of them.
Yeah, I think I saw your name around. I saw Monus's name and Danish's name. So these guys had also written down their experiences, and I went through those questions and looked up the answers for those questions. And luckily, the next day, not all questions asked were the same, but majority of them were the same that people were posting on the website. And luckily, my interview got over in one day. So the first two rounds were like your typical coding interview round.
Mhm.
Uh, I could solve like two out of three questions barely, so they allowed me to pass to the last round in the end. And the last round was very, I don't know, it was more challenging because the man who was interviewing me was a director, and more rather than focusing on programming algorithm style questions, he was asking me about my project, and then he was asking me a bit about theory about networking, the OSI model, and I fumbled a bit in that, and I tried to bullshit my way through it, and he laughed on my face, dude. It was like, what? I mean, the laugh literally was expressing that what are you trying to say, dude? And even I laughed. So I laughed because I knew, yeah, this is the end.
So he connected it
Because
like, yeah, all right, we have the same sense of humor.
yeah,
Let's have a one go.
yeah, let's have him go. So, and then when the interview got over, HR comes in and she's like, "Oh, sorry, Darshil, I don't think Ajay, the guy who just interviewed me, liked your. I mean, he didn't find you satisfactory to join." I was like, "Damn, I wasted my whole day for this interview." I mean, I thought to myself, I wasted my whole day for this interview, and they're rejecting me. I was like, "All right, shit happens." And then, but then she was like, "No, no, I'm just kidding. He approved you. You got the
Oh,
job."
What
oh,
kind of
okay.
HR?
That is
What kind of
that
HR
is
says you're rejected?
And
It
I was
just,
like,
that's
seriously, dude.
basically what happened to me, but she was serious.
But yeah, that is completely different. This is a prank. Damn.
"Yeah, this
This
was a
was like
prank."
pulling
I
a
And I
mean,
was
Joey.
like, "Okay, okay, I dig this sense of humor. I won't be approved."
Damn, dude.
Imagine someone got angry like, "Are you guys professional enough to work?"
Oh,
Who does
that's a great
pranks like
barrier
that?
though.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
joking
after
about
the prank was revealed, yeah, sure.
that's definitely
Yeah, yeah, sure.
unprofessional to prank you like that at that point of time.
Yeah.
Very
No,
Maybe
unprofessional.
it's a
I didn't mind. I
maybe it's
didn't
a
mind.
student thing, man.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a student
Maybe.
thing. Like, yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
question of livelihood. We can fuck with them a bit. Maybe
it
she knew
is a
you were
question of
accepted in
livelihood.
another.
Of course, it's a question
Maybe.
of livelihood, cuz.
And then there
Maybe
is,
they
there is.
knew I
It is,
was
it is.
hired into L&T.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they knew.
Yeah,
So, so I was one of the first people in my class to get selected because this company was the first to actually start. I mean, this company started the whole campus placement thing, and then all other companies came a couple of weeks later. And the interviews that my friends had there, it's insane, dude. I was like, not a single programming related questions. It was just pretty much like, yeah, just tell me something about yourself and that kind of shit. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's awesome, man. And some had group discussions and all, and it was essentially what what is that? AIB's honest engineering
yeah.
placement. It was
Oh,
essentially the
As many students as a
series
tempo
where
can fit.
pretty much the mass
But
recruit was kind of like that.
yeah,
HR lady, HR lady saw my. I don't know why they asked me to do a SWOT analysis on a topic. That was one part of the interview round. She looked at my answer and she's like, "Your handwriting is not very good." And I was like, "Why does it matter? Because I don't think I'll be writing,
yeah, I'm not a
handwriting
transcriber.
anything." And she started arguing, "No, no, still your handwriting should be legible." I was like, "Okay, then I'll try to improve on it, because G huzur wala attitude you should have
That's
when you're interviewing. That's
that's right.
what the college had fed into your mind, because these people are giving you your jobs, so you need to
Yeah,
treat them like kings." I was like, "Okay, I'll improve on it." And I thought, because I back answered her, she wouldn't give me an offer or something like that. But contradictorily, she gave it to me. I was like, "Cool."
right.
she
You
wanted to
never
see some
know.
pushback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe,
maybe she wanted to just
maybe.
follow your handwriting journey. So I'll make a calligrapher out of him yet. Yeah, but the
You
interview
never know.
stories are pretty funny. I mean, even the ones that you've heard from your colleagues and all, just the way people behave sometimes is pretty funny. Like, you remember Binoy when one of our colleagues had an interview candidate seeking out for him after the interview was over.
Oh yes,
The
yes.
candidate,
Oh,
the
what?
candidate was
I
asking
remember.
the HR like, no, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him. Can I meet him again? And it was pretty funny. And
And we had to
he's
hide
like,
him.
no, you can't meet him, man. Please go home.
Yeah, we had to hide
Can
him.
I
The
And
meet
then
him,
HR
still
came
please?
in.
left. Yeah.
Can I
HR
have a
comes into
talk
the
with the
room.
manager?
Yeah, that's how it went. HR came into the room and said, "Sit tight, don't move from here. There's a candidate walking around the office looking for you. Just stay here while I get rid of him." And that's how it went.
Yeah, I think they had to tell him he left or something. It was
Yeah,
damn
yeah.
funny.
I mean, they could call security, but I think they didn't want to escalate that.
Yeah, next thing you know, on Glassdoor, there is a review. I was manhandled for an interview.
There was actually, I mean, not about manhandling, but this same dude, I
Oh,
think, put a poster, a Glassdoor review as well about
oh,
this,
okay.
accusing whatever.
What did his side of the
Monty.
story? How did his side of the story go?
I don't remember, but I think the complaints were mainly to do with the logistics, them having to make him wait and whatever those kinds of things. That's all.
Yeah, that is a thing in campus interviews for sure, though. There were like, I think
Yeah.
30 of us that had shown up for the first round. And by the time, the reason that I had to do the third round on the other days was one of the last people to get started with the first round.
Right.
So I was just pretty much waiting there for
The entire day.
maybe 3 hours or so. But yeah, then there are just like nerves building up because you're just sitting there doing nothing. I didn't even have anything to do there. But I don't know. I mean, it's not like I have a suggestion on how to do it better. It's
Yeah.
quite ad hoc in that sense.
But we need to, with engineering interviews, we need to talk about the dream and super dream thing that Darshal just brought up right
Bifurcation.
now, which is something that's I think common across engineering colleges in India,
In
where
India,
a
yeah.
certain salary bracket of companies offering a certain salary bracket are dream are normal companies, then higher than that is dream, and then higher than that there is a concept of super dream and wet dream or whatever the hell you want to
I think I
whatever
think
you
it's
want to
just I think it's just on the basis of what the current salary of the TPO is. The
Right,
TPO is
right.
like, my dream is to have this, and this I just, as you said, but this one
No,
I
but to
just
be serious, they have this bifurcation to, show stats to future students or parents coming into college. Because if they don't have this dream, super dream hierarchy, then one student who got a normal job offer can't apply to another job offer, right? Because they need to inflate the jobs placement numbers. Because
But then
let's
you
say,
can, wouldn't it be much easier to inflate it because the number of offers is the same? If you just count the number of offers, then one guy getting three offers is counted as three offers, right? I mean, you could do the math, you could
But I
find.
think
but then no,
the
no, no.
way they
But
do
then
it
the
is
problem.
the way they display it on the website is they have the student name, they have the company name, and then they have the
Oh, right.
CTC. So it doesn't look good if your CTC is overall CTC is low. But they've completely dehumanized the process. I think they've completely forgotten the fact that there's an actual person
People,
with
yeah.
an actual career paths that they need to follow. They're pretty much treated like cattle. Like, if you no, no, you go sit this interview.
Yeah.
No, no, once you sat for this, you can't sit for this.
Yeah.
But I would like that profile. No, no, it doesn't matter. It won't look good.
Yeah, and
So yeah, it's
I've
pretty fucked
seen
up.
friends of mine who kind of were just refused the placement officers or whoever just refused permission for them to interview at other companies. And these guys are really intelligent, bright guys. They had potential to get into places and do well. And at the end of the day, a few of them just got frustrated and said, "Forget it. I don't want to even apply through college. I'll find my own way." And they did. And they got great offers. They were also very talented engineers.
Right.
That's a thing. But
See, the problem with what Benoit suggested, including job offers and people who got placed in statistics, is that with what happens with people who get multiple job offers is that they have to reject other job offers that they got accepted into, and that sours the relation of the college with the companies, because the companies are here to hire and students are rejecting their offers after they went through the whole process.
Dude, but
but
that
look,
happens even
yeah,
when you're laterally. I don't see a reason to
Yeah,
take that so
but the
personally.
college,
yeah,
but that is laterally is you're independently applying to the company, right? But for placements, the college actually needs to have a good rapport with companies.
Definitely, definitely. But
So
it's quite
that also
fucked up
plays
that
a, yeah.
yeah, that's true. But it's quite fucked up that if someone rejects an offer in the favor of a better one, the company shouldn't take it personally and then be like, "नहीं नहीं, ये मैं
exactly,
याद रखूंगा." That just
exactly.
I held a grudge
it
over you.
seems pretty yeah, it seems pretty unprofessional.
Petty.
And
It
it's
seems pretty petty.
specifically
Yeah, exactly. It's very
it
kiddish.
is, and it's specifically these mass recruiters or the companies that hire hordes of students that pull throw their weight around like this because they know that they have the college by the balls essentially because they'll just go next door to the next college, and so they
Mhm.
kind of hold them to ransom and they say if you give me a guaranteed number of students and if less than this join then I'll move on to the you know it's a supply and demand situation there
Yeah.
and
Right, right.
cattle like
Uh, there was there was this pretty famous incident of a particular mass recruiter that had to rescind job offers. I think it was it was people in my batch also, but no one in my particular college had selected any other offers. It was like a giant middle finger to them. But people who had accepted their offers from various parts, they had to rescind offers, and then now who's responsible for these people, man? The TPO, he doesn't give a shit. So
True.
two, he gives
That's
two
true.
shits.
You know,
Yeah,
the
pretty
college,
much.
the way people haven't, the way people treat you in college and the way they treat you at a workplace is so different. Like the culture shock, there's a culture shock. Like when you're at college, you are being constantly treated as a kid, even though you're
Yeah, yeah,
way
yeah.
past 18. And when
Correct.
you're joining a workforce, you are actually treated like a adult who can be trusted to make proper decisions,
Yeah, yeah,
and that always felt weird, right? Because remember when we had our company training before we
yeah,
joined,
yeah.
that was so different from a classroom environment.
Yeah, you could actually just get up, leave, and go like get a coffee or something, and it was totally fine. You didn't have to
Yeah,
raise
in
your
the middle of
hand
a
and
lecture.
may I go for a pee break or something. That shit. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was it was a huge culture shock for sure. But
yeah,
I mean, that may be something that only happens where we work. There are other companies, I'm sure, that are very, very formal
Yeah.
right.
in how you have to
One
approach things.
funny
And
one funny story regarding this. So I had a senior coworker, and there's this HR representative. So these two guys are not really tall, and so they are a bit short, and they were dressed in casuals, right? So they went for a recruitment drive at my college, okay, and and when they came back, they told this story to me. So apparently, these guys were just roaming around from one class to another, from where the interviewers were chilling out, and from where the actual interviews were happening. So while they were walking from one place to another, one of my professors caught them, and he's like, "Hey, you, where are your ID cards? Why are you roaming around like this? You don't have lectures and all." He started lecturing them on the spot in the lobby corridor, and these two guys at the mouths open, like, "What is this guy talking about?" And finally, they told him, "No, no, we are here for recruitment," and that was a pretty awkward situation.
did he
And
suddenly change attitudes and start kissing their feet?
of course, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I was berated by this professor. I knew this professor, and it was so, cathartic to hear about this really awkward situation with him. I hope he doesn't do that to his students from that day on. But
There is no
things never
way. There
change.
is no way he doesn't do this.
Yeah.
It's
You're expecting too
probably like
much.
way too ingrained. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll probably just might be just polite before starting to lecture them. Hey, do you have your ID cards? Yeah. But what the fuck are you doing in the corridor?
There was
There's no right
one
answer.
exception that he was careful about for a few days, and he thought like, no, no, this comes once in a blue moon. I can just berate these children.
Yeah, fair, fair,
And
fair.
when people actually are not students, I'll just apologize.
I was looking for a fault to
Yeah,
find.
that works. That works. Yeah, imagine if the recruiters are petty. They're like, hey, let's put everyone in this college through hell. Thankfully, I'm guessing that wasn't the case. But
No, no.
yeah, it would be crazy.
Yeah.
Man, it's just entering college after after like spending a few months working is a completely different thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had been to your convocation and all, the whole stand in a
Mhm.
straight line and then do this and then
Oh,
sit here. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Why did they make you stand in a straight line with one arm
to
distance?
collect
I
your
mean,
degree.
no. It was more like to get into the auditorium, just
Okay.
stand in a straight line and then sit in an orderly
Yeah.
fashion and then give us back the ropes, give us back the ropes. Like,
Oh
relax, we're not
yeah.
gonna run away with the fucking rope. It's
That was
fine.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, yeah. Even the whole office staff where I mean the college's office staff, they would want to ask for the leaving certificate. It's
Uh,
quite rude, which doesn't usually
oh,
happen in office. In people in office are
I
quite
still
chill.
haven't collected my leaving certificate,
Yeah,
guys.
even I haven't. Don't worry. I don't
Shouldn't
think I
you?
need
Okay,
it.
shouldn't you be getting on it? I did. It is basically just a printed A4 size. It doesn't even have anything on it. I think you can just
No,
type one
man,
out
you
in
have
Word and
to
do it yourself.
get 4 5 people's signature in order to get your living certificate. And the one thing that got me stuck up was that I didn't have my ID card, and they're like, "Oh, you don't have your ID card? We can't give you your leaving certificate. I won't sign this."
You can
The
show them a
What
college
the
degree.
office,
fuck?
yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah, that was so stupid. And they're like, "Oh, you lost it? Bring us an FIR letter." I'm like, "Hell no, I'm not right
I don't
Dude,
making
know.
an
seriously,
FIR about
the police is gonna
it."
the police is gonna entertain your FIR. God
Yeah,
damn.
dude.
Holy shit.
I think you don't even need an FIR.
Lost
They
my
just
ID card.
drew parallels. Oh, what else can you lose? Passports, phones. What do you need to do then? FIR. Get me an
Of
FIR.
course. That was so
As long as
stupid,
it
Possibly.
drags
man.
their work a little further down the road.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, we should do a whole episode on the
College life.
college office staff because
Office stuff, red tape is
genuinely the stories I have,
Yeah, yeah.
they're
There's so
quite,
many stories and so many of them are so amusing.
yeah, yeah.
But getting back to
yeah.
work, you were talking about work environment, formal and non-formal work environment. Ours is pretty chilled out. We see people hanging around, everyone's in shorts and t-shirts. But I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of companies, again, the ones that shall not be named, the mass recruiters, who are pretty formal. You have to wear trousers and shirts,
Yeah.
and your ID card has to be around your neck. And there's doors all across the office. I mean, this happened to me when I went for a Morgan Stanley interview, where any door that you had to pass through required an ID that you had to scan.
Oh,
So
Well,
essentially,
in Morgan Stanley, it might be a security thing and not
yeah,
a tracking thing. But we
possibly.
do have a colleague who used to work at one of the mass recruiters where you actually were accountable for the number of times you stepped out,
Okay,
right?
I
Uh,
we did. Okay.
mm, yeah, I'll tell you about this later if you don't know. But there are also so many people that install like tracking software on your laptops to check whether your cursor is idle and whether you've not typed for a while or something like that. It just
oh,
sounds
right. There are
fucking
tracking
insane, dude.
softwares. Yep.
Yeah, it's 1984. Big Brother's watching. Fucking dude, it's
Now,
insane because the amount of time that one would just spend thinking or how do you count for that? That's that's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's just two contrarian ways of, I don't know, ways of doing business where you, on one hand, you give more to your employees, give them more freedom, give them more perks, and just make them want to spend as much time as possible in the office and do work, which is what maybe Google and the like. And then there's the
yeah,
TCS
you
approach
just
where
meet your requirements.
you essentially build a pen around your cat. I mean, I don't want to say cattle, but you
Cat.
essentially build a fence, and
But
so
yeah, that is
Uh,
how they're treated, I guess.
yeah, that's how they're treated.
Actually, I have been in a formal work environment at Tech Mahindra. So they only had casual Fridays. And
Wow.
I used to
How
wear
casual was it?
shirts and jeans. People wore t-shirt, jeans, and all that. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I should wear formals, and on Fridays I'll wear semi-formal, the t-shirt and shirt and jeans. And after that, I was like, these guys aren't paying me. What will they do? Fire me? And
Yeah,
I started wearing shirts and jeans every day. Whereas the other guy, there was another guy from some other college from who was also interning with me, and this guy used to be in formals all the time. I think he was some kind of a suck up, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
So this guy was always in formals. I was like, cool. And my mentor was pretty good, chill, because he actually wanted us to learn something. So he took us to the Pune office where they have a huge campus, Tech Mahindra campus, and he actually showed me their maintenance room. Like it was a proper, you know how the war boardrooms are. There are maps on the walls and people on intercom sitting on
Right.
computers and typing.
Right. The
This
commanders are
situation was
sitting
like
on
that.
top, and the grunts are moving the little pieces with the wooden.
So yeah, so it was similar to that. There were a huge hall, and in that there were rows of desks and computers with employees working there. And on one huge wall, they had this huge ass monitor with the Norway telecom map. So there was a map of Norway, and it had lines, telephone lines drawn onto it. So whenever something goes down, the green line becomes orange or yellow or red. So that is for monitoring everything. It was pretty cool. And even there, I went in shirt and jeans, and I was
Yeah,
so
I
out
mean,
of
it's
my
not a
board.
lab or
Everyone,
something. It's just a board with
Genuinely
some
yeah,
for
lights.
yeah,
programmers,
but it
unless you have
was
to interface with clients or something, what is the point of dressing up in formals? What is the
formals,
There
right?
isn't.
That's what I thought, right? I'm just an
yeah?
intern. I could wear whatever I want.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your designation is unless you have to meet a client and then have that particular impression. Because I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
It's this pretty old thing, right? Like if you're not well dressed or something, you're not professional. You don't care. You're tardy. That kind of
Right, right.
this thing. But for
mhm,
programmers who are not really looking to make an impression on clients, what does it matter at all?
It doesn't.
It shouldn't.
Yeah, it
I
shouldn't.
remember the first time I was actually going to office, my parents were like, "This is how you're going." I was just in normal t-shirt and jeans. Like, this is how you're going to office? It's unthinkable for people who are
true.
looking from the
And if
outside.
you walk into
But
offices,
I like
Imagination
they're like, "This
basically.
is how you're coming to office in formals."
that has also happened to me. The first day I wore formals just because of orientation. I didn't. I just wanted to be on the
Uh,
safe side. Formals, you can't go wrong. But then literally everyone was. I mean, I a couple of other people maybe had shown up in formals, but that was pretty much
yeah,
the last year.
same here.
Yeah, I
Remember
mean, you
when I
can wear formals if that's you're comfortable with, but it shouldn't be a
mhm.
mandatory thing. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
crazy.
During our time also the same thing happened. Like only a couple of people were there in formals. The rest of us were there in casuals only for our orientation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Oh,
You would
even
my
wear
be the
shorts
one.
for
grandma,
fuck's sake. What do you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
against?
my grandma had come to visit me after I got my job in this company, and she's like, "It's 12 o'clock. Why are you still at home?" I was like, "Oh, I leave in 2 hours. I leave at 2 o'clock and start work at 3 o'clock, and then come
Nice.
back at 12 with the office provide cab service, drop off service.
Drop, yeah.
Drop off service.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
They
Yeah.
did take
forgot
care
what
of
they
us in
call
that
it
sense.
because of Corona.
Yeah, the drop off service.
Drop
Yeah.
service.
I think Google is the one who actually came up with this completely pamper employees and
Yeah, yeah, they did.
let
They
them
did.
let
Yeah,
them live
the
their lives and all.
Silicon
Otherwise, it was
They did.
pretty rigid. And
Valley
then
culture.
there's obviously so many that emulated it.
Right. They wanted to
It
be a
was a whole
place where
thing in
people wanted to
the
come, kind of attract the best talent.
sure, sure. Apparently, there was a study that recent study that said that having a 4 day work week was
Work week.
actually more
And I think
productive.
this
More
was
productive.
Microsoft,
Makes sense,
right,
man.
who did experimented with that. If I'm not wrong.
I think it might have been. I don't remember the details to be honest.
Yeah,
I just looked at the thing and I went, yeah, that sounds like it would make someone more productive. Yeah,
yeah. Then there's companies like that, where most companies are doing that, and then there's companies like Netflix, which are like so cutthroat, where they're like, no, we don't care. Like they kind of have a more of like a special forces image that they want to build, where it's like only the best of the best deserve to work at Netflix. And so if you have like if you're very driven and if you're very competitive, kind of want to prove yourself and say, yeah, I want to give it a shot. I mean, I actually have Netflix's this thing open, or maybe it's not open.
Careers.
Give me a second. Yeah, I have Netflix's careers page open,
Okay.
and here. So let me read that to you. There's a there's a subtopic called Dream Team. A dream team is one in which all of your colleagues are extraordinary at what they do and highly effective collaborators. The values and the satisfaction of being on a dream team is tremendous. Our version of the our version of the great workplace is not sushi lunches, great gyms, fancy offices, or frequent parties. Our version of the great workplace is the dream team in pursuit of ambitious common goals, for which we spend heavily. It is on such a team that you learn the most, perform your best work, improve the fastest, and have the most fun. So basically, this is what their culture is. You either be at the top of your game or there's no place for you. So yeah. So
but
Pretty
I don't think they are
cutthroat.
contradictory, right? You can still be at the top of your game and the company can still give you sushi. What is
So I mean, they
what
spend.
are you
I
losing out
don't
on
know. I
there?
don't know. I don't know. They spend too much on generous severance packages. That is
Yeah, at least
you find this word way too often in Netflix's jobs page, the generous severance
generosity.
package. Right.
Oh, generous
The
severance package.
unusual
Okay, okay.
part is that
It's
we
as
give
if they're
adequate.
preparing to fire you.
Yeah,
It's as
exactly.
if they're preparing
Every
your mind to
paragraph
fire
has
you.
a threat to
Yeah.
fire you if you're if you're average. There's a line here that says the
Yeah, yeah.
unusual part is that we give adequate performance a generous severance package so that we can find a star for that position. If you think of a professional sports team, it is up to the coach to ensure that every player on the field is amazing at their position and plays effectively with others. There you go. That's their.
Yeah, awesome, man. At least they're not going with the whole our company is a huge family and every
Yeah,
employee is a member
exactly.
of the
No,
family.
and they also
I
specifically
fucking
say that
hate
that's
that.
not the case. There is a paragraph here
Yeah,
that says, no, 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 you're not a family.
I read this on Reddit or something, and I
Right,
remember saying like
Guys,
pretty good to not have that front because it's quite
right.
annoying to be honest.
Let me just read that out for you. We model ourselves on being a team, not a family. A family is about unconditional love, despite, say, your siblings' bad behavior. A dream team is about pushing yourself to be the best teammate you can be, caring intensely about your teammates, and knowing that you may not be on the team forever. The threat is there on that paragraph.
Yep.
so Netflix
I'm
has
sure that if
a podcast
Netflix comes
also.
for campus placements, they won't be disappointed if someone accepts another offer.
Yeah,
They won't be like, "Hey, I'm not coming here again."
yeah. Do you
What
want
do
to
you
be on
think,
the
Darshan?
dream
Did you
team or
guys
the
know
super
this?
dream team?
Did you guys know this? Netflix has a podcast too.
What does it? What do they discuss on
Oh,
it?
it
Your
does?
Netflix podcast.
But
Yeah.
No,
So
man.
maybe
that
is it like on content or engineering?
no, it's on about co-workers and their experiences over there. Netflix
Oh,
Okay,
employees
nice.
talking about work and life at Netflix, hosted by Netflix senior software engineer Lyle Troxel.
I see.
Oh, is it something to do with Netflix?
No, Netflix work life at Netflix.
I see.
And so there's this guy called Joshua Fluke, and he's really against this corporate culture. You see his videos on YouTube, and
I've
Right.
seen his
he's
videos,
always
yeah.
like, your workplace should not be like your family. You have a contract with your employer that you will dedicate some time to work for them, and in return they give you your salary, and there should be no other obligation.
Yeah. The problem with the
So
whole family metaphor is that it's always used in the favor of your employer. So
yeah, they
it's
can
always
guilt
like,
trip
we are
you
a
like,
family.
oh,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
exactly.
Until
overworking.
we don't need you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, until we have to
But
fire
again,
you.
it was always a marketing gimmick. I think everyone it was kind of known
Yeah,
and
yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah,
everyone is
Yeah.
aware of it.
But I mean, I think it's time to let go of that. People know that
It is. It
corporations
is.
aren't
It is.
about families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
It's just too much to expect that like someone who's a CEO of whatever 2000, 3000, even a relatively mid-sized thing knows each and every one of his employees. Or
True.
unless the metaphor here is of the
it's
extended family that
impossible.
you only meet at weddings. So what do you do
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. To the CEO, every employee is like a fourth cousin.
Disinterestedly.
Yeah, pretty much. A fourth cousin that is somehow dependent on him. That is a weird part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, his videos are pretty good though. He kind of calls out people who are exploiting this thing, right? Like he
The family
mentioned a
ethic.
couple of startups and this thing in India as well.
Yeah, low pay and high workload kind of
Yeah,
startups.
Okay.
yeah. There was a really hilarious one where he mentioned a CEO who was like, I work 15, 16 hours a day and I expect all my employees to do the
Yeah,
same and not worry
and
about the pay. Oh man.
he calls him at 2 a.m. and he picks up the phone, dude. What?
Yeah. And how much
Are
equity
you
do
wasn't
those
even
employees
sleeping?
have?
No, why should they want equity? They should only want knowledge that only he
Yeah.
can
Exactly.
provide.
Only he can provide. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he's
In
not
an
man enough
alternate
to
life,
ask.
these people would be godmen, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a yeah, it's a thin line.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Thin line.
yeah.
I see so many CEOs on LinkedIn also posting like life advice or motivational, whatever, very catchy quotes that kind of get your average Joe's attention. And now
Sure.
every CEO is going to become a content creator as well. Every CEO is a
Yeah,
YouTube.
Yeah, read brand marketing, dude. Otherwise, who will
yeah.
come work for you?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's
Your
not even
work,
about the.
bro.
It's not even about the company anymore. It's a lot of that I feel is about just personal ego. Now that you're a CEO and your company has this much funding, you feel like you're a god, and you feel like you know something everybody doesn't. And you feel the need to share.
Yeah, it might also be just to stay relevant, right? Because this, uh, I mean, you are at one point you are the face of the company,
Yeah,
and
but
you
stay
need to stay
relevant by
relevant.
doing
This is
by
where,
building products, right? I mean, I don't think
sure,
LinkedIn content is necessarily doing much to help your company.
yeah, yeah, fair. That's why we are not CEOs, I guess.
Yeah,
We just don't have the factor in us,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
C factor.
yeah.
Let's become CEOs. Let's start a company that produces CEO content for LinkedIn. We'll be writers.
That's a great,
We'll write you some catchy motivational quotes, things like that. That will get you some followers and all.
yeah, that's a great startup idea.
Yep.
We just
Basically,
need
a
to research
marketing,
codes.
Yeah.
basically a marketing company, but just for CEO social medias.
Yeah. Yeah. We are hyper specialized. You see, the value is in specialization.
Niche,
I wouldn't
niche.
be surprised if this already exists and is like a cash cow.
Yeah.
There's no way this doesn't already exist. If
Yeah. It
not
probably
this
already
as a
exists.
company, there's
Just raised
definitely
a fresh
a
round of
position for
funding.
this.
It already exists. It just raised a fresh round of funding and will be closing down in the next year.
Yep, yep. Only for another five to appear.
But I'm sure it's a great. It must be pretty great because you can like just build a pretty bogus startup, catch on like ride the wave, get tons of money because there's money lying around for people to invest, and then the company goes under. But you've had fun. You had some company parties, company dinners, spent money doing stuff, and that's it. Then you get the next great idea, the next big idea. Get somebody else to invest in it, and run chug along for another year until the third big idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then there's also the firefighting while you're running the company, right?
That firefighting is if you want to douse the fire. I mean, if you're
Oh,
like the
right,
fire's
right.
going to burn out for another year, all right, I'll sit
Yeah,
and in the warm glow of the fire while
yeah,
like
yeah. His pitch was a bogus startup company, dude.
yeah, yeah,
He's clearly not worried
that was
about
the pitch.
Oh,
fires.
right, right, right.
Yeah, you'll be the one
But you
lighting the
need
fire.
investors, right? Even if it's a bogus startup company.
I mean, there was a point where that startup bubble had grown to a point, at least in India, where you
Hmm.
could theoretically have a very average idea, but get funding for it just because there was a lot of cash chasing a very few startups, and everyone wanted to have their finger in every cup, and so
Yeah, yeah.
you could have gotten away with it. Honestly, a lot of
You
people
guys
did,
remember
I think.
that?
Oh,
You guys remember that Kanan Gill sketch, the startup idea,
Right,
where
right.
Abhish
ah,
just
yeah.
says, "I." It was damn
There
funny, dude.
was,
He just
yeah,
literally says, "I
no,
have an
there was
idea,"
just
and
no
then
idea.
yeah,
I have an idea. He doesn't even tell the idea, right? And
yep,
Karan Gill goes and forms a startup, has a huge drama with Avish, and in
company,
the end sells the startup.
yep, yeah, yeah. Sues Abhish and then
Hilarious.
sells the startup. It's fucking hilarious. It's pretty much exactly what Binoy just said. Startup.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the old web dev thing, I think. In the 90s, there was a time where you could just hire anyone who could code a bit of HTML without really wondering, uh, without really caring
Oh, the
about any of their
simpler web.
credentials. Yeah,
yeah. Because that time there was a dearth, I guess, of
yeah. That's what happens in startups, I guess.
yeah,
At any point, we were like, this might be the next big thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Guys, what are your funny interview candidate stories or something?
Yeah, I've not really interviewed
Oh,
candidates that are too funny. I think Darshal was the guy with the
I
funny
have
interview story.
I have another candidate. So when you were giving Viva exams during your college,
Hmm.
that atmosphere when you are like trying to appease the external examiner who's taking your exam, and you try to bullshit your way through any question that you don't know the answer to, and the examiner also know you're bullshitting, you also know you're bullshitting, but he knows
Yep.
he has to pass you because the college has fed him chai and samosas.
Random. Yeah.
So I had the same feeling, but except the chai and samosas. So I was taking an interview of this new joinee, and this guy just couldn't solve any of the programming problems that I gave him. And he's like, "Sir, you should. Why are you asking these questions? You should ask the questions that they've taught us at college." And I thought, is are requirements gonna come up that that you've been taught exactly at college, like okay,
Oh
abhi kal
damn.
requirement hai ki you have to do something like this. You can't be like, oh, this I wasn't taught in college. This interview is there so that we get to know your problem solving skills, and you're saying, oh, this problem I haven't solved, so therefore I won't solve it.
Fuck.
That
What is the sense
and
of?
that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was him pleading to me like, "Oh, please give me another chance. I promise I'll answer the next one." I'm like, "What kind of a promise is this? What would happen if you don't
Dude, you should
answer
have
it?"
taken
And
up.
I do.
Yeah, you should have taken up on that offer and then just asked another question. It's clearly couldn't answer it. Even if he did answer it, then you could always just ask another one. Oh damn, dude!
Yeah.
What is the sense of entitlement you have that you're like you
Yeah.
should?
And the worst part was like, oh, look at my projects. I built a PHP app which stores comments or something. If you comment something, it will store it. And had a look through the app description, and I thought, wait a minute, this is that bare bones PHP app that you do during your web technology course. Remember, there's this one bare bones PHP application which has MySQL integration code in it,
Yep,
and
yep,
you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
just copy paste the code and do minor changes to it. And that was the only vanilla PHP example that I could find on the net
Yeah.
during
Right.
that time. Otherwise, if you go to search for PHP tutorials, it would be Laravel or WordPress. And this
yeah.
guy had just taken the same tutorial, and he's saying that, okay, I built this. And I was like, "Dude, this is a tutorial. You
So
just
you
follow
played the
it
Damn.
game
step by step."
for a few minutes, and
Yeah,
then let
I
him.
played with him a few minutes because ego inflation milta hai. Sir bula raha is. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, I mean, I did ask him further questions, and he couldn't answer them. And after
Right,
half
right,
an
right.
hour, I had to end the interview. And I told him, "Don't worry, dude. You can try again later after a year or 6 months. What's the limit? I don't know.
Yeah,
Go,
I
you
think
have
so.
a talk with HR
You basically
because I
became
don't
an
know."
Indian Idol judge at that point, right? You
Yeah,
can't
dude,
come to
that
Mumbai
was
right now.
bizarre.
Maybe try again next year. Just practice a bit.
Practice a bit, dude. That
Yeah,
also
yeah.
he didn't do.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
I just remembered a very funny interview experience where I think that year or something they lowered the bar and there was no programming around at all. Just called a
Yeah,
bunch of people
same
in.
case with me.
And
Yeah.
this dude actually didn't know how to code. And I asked him a question. I think I asked him like a medium level question. He said, "Oh, I couldn't. I don't know how to do this." I asked him in like a string reversal or something, and he said, "I know how to do it. I can tell you the logic, but I can't write code."
Coded.
And I
Yeah.
was just like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you can't write code? The position is a programming position." He's like, "No, I learn or try to weasel his way out of it." But at that point, I was just like, this is a complete waste of time. We need to have some kind of a filter where you need to at least know how to code, at least know how to assign things to variables and to write a for loop because that's all you need to reverse a string really. But
I mean, aptitude
Right,
test should solve that problem, but for your case, it didn't. I
exactly,
guess they
there
didn't
was no
ask
aptitude test. There
programming
was no.
questions
Yeah,
right, right.
in
So
aptitude tests.
there are sometimes we have drives that are not exactly like the campus placements in that we don't really have a programming round. There's just a small written test based like which is your normal aptitude and a few basic programming questions. So there were a couple of people that were hired and we to interview like maybe 4 or 5 people back to back. So one of them literally gets in his resume, and the resume has a pretty decent this thing programming a year of experience or something like that, and he mentioned a few languages. And then I asked him a question, and he goes, "Sir, I'm actually not from programming background." And at that point, you really have to resist the temptation to say that what are you here for, a free meal? What has brought you here
Uh,
at a position that clearly says it's a developer position? Why are you here? And I mean, at that point you can't just say fuck off, right? So then I had to
Yeah.
ask him
no.
a few. I had to ask him a few questions, logical questions. And anyway,
Mm,
we don't really pay a lot of attention to syntax. We don't care about it much, or your
yeah.
choice of language for that matter in the first round.
Hmm.
But
It should
then
be
he couldn't even
semantically
solve
correct.
that, and like, yeah, thanks for wasting both the times. But i- why would you turn up for a position that not only do you not have any interest in,
The
but you
pay,
also have no experience in?
the pay.
But I
Yeah.
mean, at least, yeah, maybe, yeah. But
I mean,
I
that's
guess
the
if you're changing
problem.
track at that point, you just need to first off not inflate your resume in this way, and second off maybe start from the bottom, right? You can't
Yep.
show up saying you have a year of experience and then being like, I don't have a programming background.
Yeah,
What am
and
I
what were
supposed?
they expecting us to, yeah, respond to that?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe it's a very movie-like notion where I'm very impressed by your honesty. Salary kitni loge?
Oh man, the Three
They
Idiots
just
scene,
gloss
remember?
over the fact that yeah, pretty much. Just gloss over the fact that his resume clearly didn't match up to his skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Another hilarious thing is that people just write stuff in their resume. Like a guy had mentioned proficient in JavaScript, and when asked basic JavaScript questions, he's like, "Well, actually, I've not worked in JavaScript." But you wrote it on your resume.
Resume. Oh
What
man.
am I supposed to do here? I would not ask. I mean, it's not like I'm a sadist or something. If you say I've not worked in this, I wouldn't ask you those questions. I'm not interested. Like, it's not a battle of egos or something. I genuinely want to see whether you can do what you say you can. But uh,
Remember that
sometimes it's just like,
interview? Remember that
yeah,
interview that one of your friends took, Rohan? So in the first round, he asked if you know CSS Flexbox, and
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
and the second interviewer saw the first
who was my
interviewer's
friend? Yeah,
notes, and yeah, and second interviewer sees the notes from the first interviewer, and it's written over there that the candidate knows Flexbox. So the second
yep,
interviewer was like, okay, let's grill him more about Flexbox, and he couldn't able to answer, right? The
yeah. He
candidate.
wasn't able to answer. Yep.
And then the second interviewer rejected him, and then he asked the first
Had
interviewer,
to.
why did you say he knew Flexbox? And his response was, oh, I just asked him, do you know Flexbox? I said yes.
Do you
And
know
he wrote
Flexbox?
in his
Yes.
notes, he knows
Knows
Flexbox.
Flexbox.
Yeah, that's an awesome way of interviewing people, man. That is, it's
Yeah.
great. We should all just do that. Can you imagine how
If
short
only
that
people were
interview would be?
honest. Yeah.
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 Has
No, I'm not
Nobel
expecting
Prize.
Would
him to
even
What?
be.
work
It's
if people
Where?
just
were
How do we
honest.
get this guy?
as a Nobel Prize.
Yep.
Would you be willing to work for 40K a month?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't offer
yeah,
money. We offer knowledge.
Knowledge.
yeah. Thankfully, I don't know how these people will manage to get. They're just preying on helpless people, I guess. Joshua Fluke's channel is
Yes.
something you should watch, man. There are really weird CEOs that he points out. A lot of them are in India, a lot of them are US based,
US
but
based, yeah.
it's pretty funny.
His
I
latest
think the
video,
model probably was
he
born in the US, and these guys are Indian Desi guys figured out how to take it to the extreme and just milk every last ounce of that.
But the best
correct.
part is that these
Messiah
people
complex.
actually, there are people who are defending these people in the comments, saying, "Oh, this is what entry level jobs look like. This is what it's supposed to happen. This is what is supposed to happen. This is how your career grows." And
Yeah,
no,
but
not
it shouldn't
really,
be like that.
not really. But it also isn't. It's I mean, there are opportunities.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
just plain exploitation.
And this guy's just someone who's pointing that out. I mean, it's not like he's asking you to close down your businesses or something. He's just
Yeah, yeah.
pointing it out
Dude,
that what
he
you're doing
shows
is
us
illegal.
job offers. Joshua shows us job offers which have the same salary as a retail employee with no
Oh yeah,
skills,
yeah, yeah.
no
He had,
technical
in fact,
skills.
yeah, he had this thing about
Yeah,
how Walmart has better benefits and pay than
yeah.
there was a job posting
Full
for
stack
some
developer.
full stack developer, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
full stack
and
developer job which
really a
paid.
full stack developer?
Yeah, yeah. The skill set
God damn.
required to be a full stack developer, and you're paying him the same as a Walmart employee. I mean, no hate on Walmart employees, but technical skills
Yeah,
are like,
of course.
yeah,
In fact, it was the same pay and worse benefits because the
yeah.
Walmart guys had a lot of benefits, like a lot of perks, as opposed to the things that are posted. I don't know what is a case could be made that it's a corporation versus a what is a relatively small startup, but even as a
Hmm.
startup, it's just unfair because a developer will have a lot more responsibility and maybe you can even in a startup you would at least offer equity, right?
Yeah,
In case the thing,
yeah,
but even that is not on the table. So it blows my mind how people can actually even think of posting shit like that.
yeah,
The problem is that people actually apply for these positions. If no one applies thinking that they're just taking advantage of us, then maybe people
Yeah,
would stop posting these ridiculous job requirements and
yeah,
pays.
yeah. But I
It's
mean,
sad.
I think that's there's always someone who really needs that whatever that amount of money is. Not everyone
Oh,
is privileged enough to
definitely
refuse.
enough. Yep.
So that's it's essentially exploitation, right? It's just
Yep.
exploiting people who are that needy. At least have some
In
better
need.
pay.
Yeah.
But
So
what do you guys think about the whole interviewing thing? You think there's something better, considering that there is so much of a disconnect between the there's a fair amount of disconnect between the interview
mhm.
process and the day-to-day job.
Well, I feel it should be the same as my startup interview, in which they ask you to build an application and just look at how you go through it. That is good enough for a startup. But as we said in the previous podcast, I think Zomato's approach is also great, where they ask potential candidates to work with teams for a week, and there's a mentor who interacts with you for an hour every day and tracks your progress and decides whether you're fit to work at Zomato or not.
Do you guys know
That
if they pay for that week?
hmm,
I
for
don't
that
know.
week, no, I don't
Can
know.
you imagine? Can you imagine just asking people, "Hey, why don't you work for us for a week?"
Oh, that problem also
Getting
arises.
a
Yeah,
feature coded. Hey, why don't you also
Uh,
write test cases? And we've decided you're not the right fit.
yeah, that's one way to find yourself
imagine,
on Joshua Sloop's channel.
im- Imagine
I'm
one
sure it is,
guy
man.
works for a week, implements a feature, then the next candidate comes in, implements another feature, and in the end, the last
Yeah,
candidate just writes test cases for it
yeah,
and brushes up the whole code base,
yeah.
and they have a
And
product
people are
ready.
looking at Glassdoor. How has nobody ever gotten this company? Must be really brilliant. No person has ever cleared the interview. But yeah, but I think the Zomato approach suits companies that are small, the size of like smaller size companies. I mean, if you're talking at the scale of like Google or someone where you're having to hire so many employees across so many teams, it's not really feasible
Mhm.
to have people come in and work a week or whatever that boot camp kind of system. So honestly, I don't think there is another alternative right now to the traditional interview system where I mean, they do try to test as much as possible, like logic and then system design and all of that.
Yeah,
I think that they've at least made some progress there, but I don't see any alternative right now to the traditional interview.
Yeah. Well, they
fair
do
enough.
achieve the goal of testing the candidate whether they can think about problem solving properly, because
Right.
these programming questions, even though we don't use them, if we as a candidate figure out how the problem proposed to us could be solved, maybe we could apply these problem solving skills to solving their requirements, actual project requirements, when we get hired. So in that
Yeah,
case, it's a very abstract way to figure out whether you can handle problem solving or not.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
that purpose it serves properly.
It
Right.
also tests your basic knowledge, and just in case you do have to worry about the sorting of an array. I mean, it's not completely impossible that that scenario might ever occur where you just okay using whatever function comes your way. But also, have you guys heard of and have you ever had to give an interview that had whiteboard coding, where you basically have to
No,
write an actual
I mean,
program on the whiteboard
yeah, I mean not on
No,
the
that
whiteboard,
is
but
pretty
yeah, on a paper. Yeah, sure.
unfair, I feel,
on a paper? But
because doing work
what I meant there is,
even on a
unlike
paper.
the interviews that we take, the syntax and all does matter. So the whole, like, we are okay with kind of a when we are interviewing, I mean, we are okay with kind of a approach
Pseudocode.
where kind of pseudocode. Uh,
Yeah.
another funny thing was that there was once a guy who was asked to write pseudocode. I wasn't the one interviewing. One of my colleagues was, and he actually wrote a descriptive sentence. Like, here, the
Algorithm.
this is, yeah, and it wasn't even a step by step where each step was explained. He just wrote the problem
Paragraph.
statement. Yeah, he just wrote a paragraph about the problem statement. And
Oh,
but anyway,
it's
back
typically
to
Mumbai University answer. Bullshit your way.
The bigger it is, the more marks you get for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man.
This is how they measure.
Yeah, but I've heard of companies. I've heard of companies who have a documentation round as well. So they give you a completely unknown language, like just some gibberish, and there's some keywords in the language, and there's documentation provided to you. And you're supposed to build something out of those building blocks just by looking at the documentation and following it. So that's also an interesting way to
Oh, follow
test.
the specs
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
build the
exactly.
product.
Follow the instructions.
Yeah.
that that sounds pretty interesting. Unless you're given like esoteric languages like brainfuck. I don't even think yeah, I don't think I could build something even if I was given documentation for
Oh, there are so
brainfuck.
many esoteric languages. We should have an episode on those too.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Oh yeah, sure. We need to look into
Yeah.
those. I know a few. I did have furry,
Uh-huh.
but we should definitely have an episode on that.
sure.
Yeah. Does that
But
mean we are?
one thing,
Yeah.
uh,
Go ahead, Darshan.
one thing I would like to say in support of like these algorithms, which are already bundled as libraries that we are supposed to write out in coding interviews. So so even if some algorithms are written as libraries, you need to know how they work. Only then can you figure out if there's any use case, special use case that a generic algorithm can't solve. And if you know the original algorithm, you can apply your own tweaks to fit it to your own use case. So in that case,
Sure.
knowing the algorithm is pretty useful.
Sure.
So there's no harm in knowing algorithms that are already implemented in libraries. But in the most general scenario, there are really good battle tested, well tested libraries out there that do it for you. Just saying, you know.
Yes.
The,
Very heartfelt monologue from Darshan.
No, I
there's
know it's a diplomatic answer, but that's how it is.
the,
I mean, it's not black or white.
did you guys ever have candidates who mentioned they would Google a solution? Like when asked, how would you do this? They replied with, I would Google this.
No.
Because I had heard of such a candidate, and I was like,
Oh,
this is a genius, right? Because you can
Yeah,
literally answer every question with that. How would you design this? I
yes,
would Google it.
and
How would
he's
you
probably
solve this? I'd Google it.
he's probably very proud of himself. No one thought of this before me. I'm the
Yeah,
pioneer
yeah,
how
yeah.
do
who
you build a Twitter clone? You Google it.
I'd Google it.
you Google it.
And the best part is you'll probably find like a million Twitter clones just out there because people
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
pretty sure to put it on GitHub. So it's never
Then
the
why
wrong
are we
answer.
hiring you? If we
Yeah.
can just Google shit, why are we hiring you?
Manual labor, bro. So that I don't have to Google. We are outsourcing Googling.
In that case, if it was manual labor, they wouldn't have asked you a question that you would have to Google. They'd ask you about your hobbies and things like
Right. So when it comes to listening music, what music do you listening?
Oh, yeah, this is what they try to. You had these college interview prep sessions, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah,
used
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
they used to mention the hobby part also. They're like, oh, if you are writing down a hobby, you better be prepared to ask questions about your hobby. And I was like, oh, better. But I mean, I used to write watching shows, and I was like, इसमें क्या prepare करना? I'll just blabber about some TV show that I've been watching. What else could they ask about this? I mean, Even if they ask questions, it would be like some friends discussing about some TV shows that they've been watching, right? And never has anyone asked me about my hobbies from my resume. I mean, to be fair, I've only given 2 proper interviews until now, but yeah,
Right, right,
that's not a
right.
good sample size,
Fair.
and they
But
never asked me.
I think the whole college interview prep is mainly targeted as at those mass recruiter interviews, and there they'll ask you literally anything other than programming. So if they find an interesting hobby, they might actually take you up on it and just have a conversation. I don't know what it's supposed to do. Maybe check your communication skills and maybe just check if you're lying. But
The
yeah,
only skill required
but
is honesty.
Yeah,
the
there
real
do you know
interview was
Flexbox
friendship all
won't
along.
work?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering what it takes to kind of not clear such interviews. What do you have to do? I think that is why they
Intention
pick on.
not clear them.
Yeah, go ahead,
Intention
Vinay.
is not clear them.
Communication
People
skills.
want to, because of this whole system of dream and all that. People are tanking interviews on purpose so that they don't are not deprived of the opportunity to apply for other companies. A lot of
Right.
my friends have done it. I've seen that being done.
Oh, I've also
I
done
have
it.
done it. Actually, I have done it. Yeah, I tanked an
L&T
aptitude
should have
test.
been my second interview, but after doing that, it was my first interview. I was
Right.
supposed to interview for another company, but I didn't fill up the forms required to be
Ah,
eligible
okay.
for the interviews.
Classic Darshan.
Hell yeah. Procrastination rocks.
Yep. And what about you, Binoy? How did you tank your interview? Please just swear at the interview because I think that will do it.
No, I think I just I knew the answers, but I marked the wrong this thing.
Oh, aptitude test
Oh,
was there.
okay. You intentionally marked the wrong answers.
Yeah,
Nice,
because
Nice.
if
nice.
I'd have cleared it, I'd have to have taken that offer. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
if I'd have gone on to the end, I decided to tank it in the first step only. Why would I waste my time with a few rounds of interviews and then
Sure, sure, sure. Again, this seems like classic TPO stuff where you have to go and sit for the aptitude just so that they can show numbers. These many people showed up
I
for
have an interesting
aptitude.
story about this also. I had a friend who needed to tank the interview because he wanted to apply somewhere else or whatever that was. And so he thought he'll tank the last final interview, and up till there he'll rack up a few hours of interview practice and things like that. So he goes through the motions, finishes all the aptitude tests, etc., and gets to the final round. And now he's trying to tank basically. He wants to be rejected. So he thought I'll let me tank this interview by coming across as a prick. So he
Huh.
tries to come across intentionally as arrogant. So he says, "Oh, if you want somebody who writes spaghetti code and all, you can hire any of these other people here. But if you want someone who really knows how to write code, you will hire me." And things
Damn.
like that. And I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but things like that. He kind of tried to
Be a
come
big
across as a prick, like as a 10x engineer.
10x
Yep.
engineer.
And turns out that's exactly what they were looking for, and they made him an offer.
Oh, damn. Imagine
Yeah,
the CEO of this company was the same guy who wrote the 10x engineer tweet.
yeah,
Like, yes, this is the person we want.
he probably
Dude,
was.
this would be hilarious that he rejected that offer and they were like, oh my god, he's playing hard to get. Let's give him a better offer. Double salary. Le do.
Double.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Uh, have you ever come across such arrogant candidates though? I know of someone, again, not an interview that I had taken, but I know of someone who had taken an interview of such a guy who kind of was in a similar vein. But that was not a campus thing, so I doubt he was trying to tank it. And in our company, I
Oh,
think it's pretty easy to tank interviews. Just don't submit the uh, program for the initial round.
coding in
It's
rounds.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's on an interface. Just don't submit.
Yeah.
So that's pretty easy to tank. But I think he was he seemed quite arrogant, and of course then he was rejected because how else do you handle someone like that?
Thankfully,
Hmm.
I haven't come
But
across any
what
candidates.
exactly? Do you know the details of what exactly he said?
So apparently, he'd written a solution that was buggy, and when the interviewer pointed it out, he said, "Well, you only get." When the interviewer pointed out there was a bug, he said, "Oh, well, if you Google the solution for this, it might be something else. You'll only get the kind of solution. You'll get like unique solutions when asking me questions."
What's the
Wow.
point of you writing a program that doesn't work? even if it's unique.
Yeah,
Maybe he
you're
thought
not
it.
an artist. Like I don't know if he thought he was Monet or
Yeah,
something.
Maybe he didn't.
seriously, yeah.
Maybe he didn't realize it was buggy. It's okay to be
Maybe he
arrogant if you can back
misinterpreted
it
it.
up, right?
Yeah,
You can't be
10x
arrogant
engineer.
and
You can't be a yeah.
then have mistakes. Like,
You can't have the ego of a 10x engineer and be a minus 10x
Yeah, I
engineer.
mean, if the candidate finds out mistakes in my logic in proving him wrong, and I admit like, okay, okay, my bad, this was right, and I move on with other questions they probably might not be able to answer. But yeah, matlab, arrogance has no place in our work culture, I feel, because
Oh,
then
definitely.
no one can be productive.
Yeah.
sure, sure. But also, it happens often that candidates do make a mistake, and I usually try to tell them that there is a bug. Can you debug it? Because it's just a two for one kind of a question where you can also then test their debugging skills and see how they
Yes.
like dry run through the code and see. Sometimes you even drop hints because you need to know whether after being given a hint he can pick up on that hint and then go for the solution.
Oh,
Right.
And that
one,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so I had this one candidate that I interviewed last week, and this guy, I asked him the factorial question that we had discussed, find out the number of trailing zeros for n factorial. So
Okay.
he was way off the answer. Like he was doing string manipulation, converting it to the number to a string and counting
Mhm.
everything. And I told him, see, we don't have much time. This is the solution. I explained the logic to him, and I thought if he implements this, I'll pass him there and there. But he implemented it and he messed up the update of the while loop or for loop, whatever. He messed up the update process of the loop, and I had to ask him another question just to make sure. I mean,
Ah,
that's what I try to do. If at least you should be able to form your solution based on the requirements that I give to you. Even if you don't know the
fair.
mathematical uh, principles, that should be enough. But apparently, he messed up with that also a bit. So I had to give him a chance again.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
Have you had interviews where the candidate just kept on tanking, or have you been the candidate just kept on tanking, where you just give one
Tanking.
incorrect solution after another, or you
Oh,
just keep on saying I don't know, I don't know, I don't know for every question that's asked?
so I asked two questions. If both questions they tank it, I don't ask the third question. And
Oh, okay.
if they perform so in both the questions, I ask another third question just to be sure. Even if they perform so in the third question, I pass them to the next round because then it's the next interviewer's responsibility to thoroughly uh, test him.
Right.
That's what my procedure is.
So I had such an interview where the guy just kept on giving the wrong answer, and then also put me in an awkward position because I like to usually end the interview with a simple question. If it's been bad, I like to end it with a simple question so that at least it ends on a okay note, and then I ask whether you have any questions for me. So I mean, there was no good note I could possibly find, so I just went to, do you have any questions for me? Just to give the
Mhm.
interview like a logical conclusion. I can't just abruptly say, nahi, nahi, bas ho gaya, bas ho gaya. But I
Cut
asked
it.
him, "Do you have any?" Not even cut. This was more like a backup thing. So you have any questions for me? And he goes, "Yeah,
Okay.
sir. Can I get some feedback?" And I was like, "You've not given a single
Okay.
solution to it." But I mean, you just got to say the HR will get back to you. Not much you can say for that.
Yep.
But quite funny. I was just wondering, what is he expecting? Like, mood खराब कर दिया यार. All right, that brings us to the end of the interviews and the multiple tangents episode. Let's get back to this next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Goodbye.